In 1971, the court drew a line in Cohen v. California. Paul Cohen's "fuck the draft jacket" wasn't polite, but it was speech. Justice Harlan's reminder, one man's vulgarity is another's lyric, wasn't just clever phrasing. It was constitutional bedrock. The First Amendment protects the raw and the uncomfortable, because power doesn't get to dictate tone. 17 years later, NWA pushed that line further. "Fuck the police" was banned from radio, condemned by politicians, and earned the group a warning letter from the FBI. But it survived. Not because gatekeepers approved, but because courts had already established in cases like Cohen that profanity and anger are protected when they are political speech. The music didn't just survive. It became an anthem against police abuse, echoing what the court had acknowledged years before. Offensiveness is not a crime. Now in 2025, I found myself living that same fight in flesh and bone. My camera was my lyric, my audit, my anthem. Yet the U.S. Marshals tried to crush it with fists instead of bans. They treated journalism like contraband, seizing equipment as if recording itself were illegal. They dragged me into cells, beat me, mocked me, and tried to rewrite the law with violence. What they could not silence with statutes, they tried to silence with shackles. The irony is bitter. The FBI once threatened NWA for words. Today, federal agents brutalize citizens for cameras. Tools of transparency. Both reveal the same truth. When speech exposes authority, authority will try to call it dangerous. Through FOIA, I had already uncovered evidence of U.S. Marshals Service bulletins and BOLOs.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Reardon, and I stand before you today not as a defendant accepting the legitimacy of kangaroo proceedings, but as a journalist documenting the wholesale destruction of the American constitutional order. On August 25th, 2025, I was arrested at the John M. Shaw United States Courthouse in Lafayette, Louisiana, for the alleged crime of journalism. Let that sink in. In the United States of America, in the year 2025, federal marshals violently arrested a journalist for documenting government activity on the front steps of a public courthouse. But this case stopped being about a single arrest the moment the government made a choice, a calculated choice, to destroy the evidence that would prove my innocence. Let me be crystal clear about what happened here, because the government is counting on you not understanding the technical details. They're counting on you accepting their lies, and I won't let them. On September 8th, 2025, just 2 weeks after my arrest, my federal public defender Dustin Talbot sent a detailed preservation request to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Not a vague request, not a general inquiry, but a precise, itemized demand for surveillance footage from June 23rd, June 26th, and August 25th, 2025. The request was copied directly to Supervisory U.S. Marshal John Farish, the man who oversees the very agents who arrested me, and to the clerk of the court, Daniel McCoy. That preservation request described exactly what we needed. All surveillance recordings from the John M. Shaw United States Courthouse that depict the front steps, the front entryway, the foyer, or any other area of the courthouse building or grounds that were visited by Matthew Reardon. Think about that timing. September 8th, less than 15 days after the incident, long before any footage would naturally expire from the system. This was immediate. This was proper. And this was legally binding. The government had one job: preserve the evidence. The most basic, fundamental obligation in any criminal prosecution. Preserve the evidence. They didn't. On November 20th, 2025, after months of my defense attorney asking, "Where's the surveillance footage?" the government finally responded. And here's what they said in writing, filed with the federal court in document number 44. Data footage from several camera locations were unable to be preserved due to a technological error in the recording system. Technological error. How convenient. Same government that can track every phone call, every email, every digital footprint of every American. The same government that operates the most sophisticated surveillance apparatus in human history suddenly has a technological error that just happens to destroy the one piece of evidence that would definitively prove whether I committed a crime or was peacefully engaged in constitutionally protected journalism. But here's the problem with lying in federal court. Sometimes the truth has a way of emerging. Through a Freedom of Information Act request, I obtained a document that obliterates the government's entire story. It's a single surveillance still image produced by the U.S. Marshal Service themselves, dated June 23rd, 2025. Let me read you the Bates number so there's no confusion about what we're looking at. 2025 USMS FOIA PA 000412, page 9 of 14. This image shows me at the courthouse entrance. It was captured by an interior lobby camera. The timestamp is intact. The camera ID is intact. The metadata is intact. This isn't some degraded, corrupted file. This is a clean, clear, perfectly preserved surveillance still exported from the exact same camera system that allegedly suffered a technological error 2 months later. Now, let me spell this out because it's critical. June 23rd, 2025. June 23rd, 2025. The surveillance system works perfectly. The marshals capture footage of me. They preserve it. They export it. And they circulate it in a bolo. Be on the lookout alert. Treating a journalist as a security threat for engaging in constitutionally protected activity. August 25th, 2025. I'm arrested. 2 weeks later, my attorney sends a preservation request specifically identifying the dates, the locations, the camera coverage needed. November 20th, 2025. The government claims technological error destroyed the footage from August 25th. But somehow, the footage from June 23rd survives just fine. Do you understand what this means? The same system, the same cameras, the same courthouse, the same surveillance infrastructure. It works perfectly when the government wants to use it to target me. But it fails catastrophically when I need it to defend myself. This isn't a technological error. This is evidence destruction. This is spoliation. This is obstruction of justice. This is the United States government engaging in the very crimes it prosecutes citizens for every single day. But the evidence destruction isn't where this story begins. It's where their cover-up fell apart. To understand what really happened here, you need to see the full pattern. Before August 25th, before they arrested me, before they claimed any crime occurred, the U.S. Marshals were already coordinating with federal judges about me in secret. Ex parte communication. That's the legal term. It means the government talks to the judge about a case without the other party present or even knowing it's happening. It's one of the most serious forms of judicial misconduct. It's a due process violation at the most fundamental level. It's the kind of thing that gets judges removed from cases. And it happened here. The U.S. Marshals, the same ones who would later arrest me, the same ones who would later control the surveillance footage, the same ones whose conduct is at the center of this case, were having private communications with federal judges about Matthew Reardon before I was ever charged with anything. Think about the timeline. June 23rd, 2025. The marshals capture surveillance footage of me engaged in constitutionally protected journalism. They don't arrest me. They don't charge me. They surveil me. They circulate bolos, treating a journalist as a security threat. Between June and August, ex parte communications occur between U.S. Marshals and federal judges. These aren't public. They're not on the record. I have no attorney present. I have no opportunity to respond. I don't even know they're happening. August 25th, 2025. The incident occurs. I'm violently arrested. I'm charged with a petty offense that carries the force of the entire federal prosecutorial apparatus behind it. After the ex parte becomes known, federal judge recuses herself from the case. Let me repeat that. A federal judge found the ex parte communication serious enough that she could not continue presiding over the case. That doesn't happen for minor procedural irregularities. That happens when something has fundamentally compromised the integrity of the proceeding. And here's the truly damning part. Before that recusal happened, the government moved to gag me and my attorney from even discussing the ex parte communication publicly. Read that again, slowly. The government, 1, engaged in secret communications with judges before charging me. 2, got caught. 3, immediately moved to gag us from talking about their misconduct. 4, only backed down when the judge recused. This is consciousness of guilt. This is cover-up behavior. This is the government trying to hide its own misconduct using the power of federal court to silence its victim. Now, do you see why the technological story or the technological error story falls apart? This isn't a government that makes innocent mistakes. It's a government that targets journalists before any alleged crime occurs, coordinates secretly with judges in violation of due process, moves to gag its critics when caught engaging in misconduct, destroys exculpatory evidence after receiving specific preservation requests, adds a second, let me repeat that, adds a second federal prosecutor to crush a petty offense charge while hiding evidence. Each of these acts standing alone might be explainable. Maybe there's a legitimate reason. Maybe it's just an unfortunate circumstance. Maybe we should give them the benefit of the doubt. But all of them together in sequence in a case about government accountability and First Amendment journalism. That's not a pattern of errors, folks. That's a pattern of systematic constitutional suppression. And here's the truly Kafkaesque part of this nightmare. The very people who destroyed the evidence are the same people who arrested me. The same U.S. Marshals who claim I committed a crime are the exact same individuals who were entrusted with preserving the evidence that would prove whether that's true. Do you see the conflict of interest? Do you see the constitutional crisis embedded in this arrangement? The accused, the U.S. Marshals, controlled the evidence about their own conduct. They receive a preservation request. Let's call it a demand, what it was. They ignore it. They claim technological error. And then they expect a court to simply accept their word. This would be like allowing a murder suspect to control the crime scene, dispose of the evidence, and then show up at trial saying, sorry, technical difficulties. The DNA just disappeared. No rationale justice system would permit this. But that's exactly what's happening in federal court right now. The government's response tries to dodge this issue by claiming the surveillance footage is not in the possession or control of the U.S. government. That's a lie so transparent, it insults the intelligence of everyone who hears it. The U.S. Marshal Service operates within the Department of Justice. They control courthouse security operations. They authored the incident reports. They coordinated with courthouse IT and contractors. They had practical access to the surveillance system. They successfully preserved and exported footage from June 23rd. The footage was and is in the government's possession, custody, or control for purposes of Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, Rule 16, and Brady v. Maryland. The government cannot credibly disclaim possession or control of surveillance infrastructure it operates and supervises. They can't have it both ways, claiming security, jurisdiction over the courthouse, while denying access to the security footage when it becomes inconvenient. And here's where we get to the question that cuts to the heart of whether this proceeding has any legitimacy at all. On one side, Matthew Reardon, one journalist, one attorney, zero ability to compel evidence from federal agencies, zero ability to investigate federal agents, zero ability to prevent evidence destruction, facing criminal charges that can leave a lasting impact on his life. On the other side, the United States government, two federal prosecutors. They added a second one to this petty offense case. The full investigative power of the U.S. Marshals Service, the full surveillance apparatus of the federal government, exclusive control over all evidence, the ability to secretly communicate with judges, the ability to destroy evidence and call it technical error, the ability to move for a gag order against their critics. How can that ever be considered fair? They provoked this incident. Don't get it wrong. They provoked it. They had ex parte communications. They moved to cover it up with a gag order. And then they destroyed the evidence. And now they've doubled down by adding a second prosecutor to crush me. Isn't prosecution. This is persecution. This isn't justice. This is the power of the state weaponized against a citizen who dared to document its misconduct. And here's why the ex parte communication is so critical to understanding the evidence destruction. The technological error defense only works if you believe this was an accident, an unfortunate malfunction, a regrettable but innocent failure of technology. But the ex parte communication proves they were already focused on Matthew Reardon before August 25th. They were already treating me as a problem to be solved. They were already coordinating with judges about how to handle the Matthew Reardon situation. So when that surveillance footage, the footage that would prove what actually happened, mysteriously disappears after a specific preservation request, we're not talking about an accident anymore. We're talking about the predictable next step in a campaign that started with surveillance, escalated the secret judicial coordination got exposed, triggered a cover-up attempt through a gag motion, and culminated in the destruction of evidence. Each step was deliberate. Each step was calculated. Each step was designed to neutralize a journalist who was documenting government misconduct. The technological error is just the latest lie in a series of lies that started the moment they decided I was a threat to their power. And let's talk about the addition of a second prosecutor, because this tells you everything you need to know about how seriously the government takes its campaign against me. This is a petty offense. That's the government's own characterization. This isn't a murder case. This isn't terrorism. This isn't espionage. This is allegedly standing in the wrong place on courthouse steps. A CFR, loitering, making loud noises, disorderly conduct, blocking a locked door with a camera that got moved when the marshal threatened to seize it. For this petty offense, the federal government has assigned 2 United States attorneys. Think about the resources that represents. Think about the message that it sends. Think about what it means when the government deploys that level of prosecutorial firepower against a single journalist for a misdemeanor level charge. It means they're not trying to achieve justice. They're trying to achieve destruction. They're trying to bury me in legal fees, in court appearances, in the grinding machinery of federal prosecution. They're trying to send a message to every other journalist, every other activist, every other citizen who thinks about holding government accountable. This is what happens when you document us. Meanwhile, they control all the evidence. They destroyed the most important evidence. They had secret communications with judges. They tried to gag me from talking about their misconduct. And they want to call this a fair trial? Let me be specific about what that destroyed surveillance footage would have shown. Because the government is counting on you not understanding exactly what they took from me. That footage would show whether I actually obstructed an entrance or was standing peacefully on public steps in a traditional public forum where the Supreme Court has repeatedly confirmed citizens have an absolute right to assemble and speak. Whether the door I allegedly blocked was even functional or was locked, as I maintained and still maintain and will always maintain, making obstruction of a non-functioning entrance factually impossible. whether any member of the public was actually prevented from entering the courthouse, because the statute requires that I unreasonably obstructed the usual use of entrances. And if no one was actually obstructed, there's no crime. Whether I complied with martial commands or resisted, because compliance versus resistance is the difference between lawful journalism and criminal conduct. Whether the marshal's testimony about my conduct is accurate or fabricated, because that footage is objective evidence that cannot be disputed, while testimony is subject to bias, faulty memory, and deliberate misrepresentation. And most importantly, whether the marshals waved me up to that location from where I was peacefully standing by the road, because if they provoked the confrontation by directing me to a location they would later claim was restricted, that's entrapment. In other words, that footage is the ball game. It's dispositive. It's the difference between guilt and innocence. It's the difference between a criminal and a journalist doing exactly what the First Amendment protects. And the government destroyed it. Not accidentally, not through negligence, through deliberate spoliation after receiving specific notice to preserve it. For those who understand criminal law, what we're dealing with here are Brady and Giglio violations of the most egregious kind. Brady versus Maryland established that prosecutors must turn over exculpatory evidence, evidence that tends to prove innocence. Giglio versus United States extends this to impeachment evidence, evidence that undermines the credibility of government witnesses. The destroyed surveillance footage falls into both categories. It would exculpate me by showing I engaged in protected First Amendment activity and complied with lawful orders. It would impeach government witnesses by providing an objective record against which their testimony can be measured. The government cannot simultaneously claim they don't have the footage and avoid their Brady and Giglio obligations. If they destroyed exculpatory evidence after receiving a preservation request, that's not just a discovery violation. It's a due process violation that goes to the heart of whether any fair trial is possible. Courts have consistently held that when the government destroys evidence in bad faith, the appropriate remedy includes dismissal, adverse inference, and sanctions. The government's conduct here, destroying evidence after a preservation request in a case where they had ex parte communications, and then move to gag the defendant demonstrates bad faith so clear that only the most severe of sanctions can restore any semblance of fairness. I need you to understand something. This is not about me. This is about a pattern. This is about a system. This is about what happens when the government decides your constitutional rights are inconvenient. I've been systematically targeted across multiple jurisdictions for the crime of holding the government accountable. Federal charge here in Lafayette, multiple over in Mississippi. It's been a witch hunt for 8 years. At every turn, I've documented in excruciating detail the patterns of corruption, the coordination between agencies, the judge shopping, the ex parte communications, the selective prosecution. And at every turn, evidence disappears. Recordings are lost. Footage suffers technical errors. Witnesses become unavailable. Documents go missing. This is not incompetence. This is policy. This is how the system crushes dissent. This is how the government neutralizes journalists, activists, and anyone who dares to document its crimes. The pattern is clear. Surveil the target. Coordinate with judges. Provoke a confrontation. Arrest on pretextual charges. Destroy the evidence. Deploy overwhelming prosecutorial resources. Exhaust the defendant financially and psychologically. And extract a plea or conviction that validates the initial targeting. Each step reinforces the next. Each abuse enables the following abuse. And if nobody stops it, if courts simply accept technical errors and unfortunate circumstances, then the pattern continues until the Constitution becomes a dead letter. This case has always been about the First Amendment. From day one, this has been a brazen attempt to criminalize journalism, to weaponize federal law enforcement against a citizen documenting government activity in a public forum. The courthouse steps are a traditional public forum. The Supreme Court recognized this for decades in cases like Perry Education Association versus Perry Local Educators Association, United States versus Grace, and countless others. Citizens have an absolute right to assemble, protest, to document, to speak freely in that space. This is not disputed. This is not controversial. This is bedrock constitutional law. The federal government doesn't care. They arrested me anyways. They charged me anyway. And when I demanded the evidence that would prove my innocence, they destroyed it. It's the government sending a message: document us, and we will fucking destroy you. Challenge us, and we will fucking destroy the evidence. Demand accountability, and we will fucking bury you in a system that has no accountability for itself. Every journalist watching this needs to understand this is what happens when you do your job. This is what happens when you document government conduct, or when you document government misconduct in public spaces where you have every legal right to be. This is what happens when the government decides the First Amendment. This is tyranny. This is what a police state looks like in its early stages. This is how democracies die, not with sudden coups, but with slow, grinding procedural abuses that corrupt the justice system from within. The ex parte communications compromise judicial independence. The gag motion attacks press freedom. The evidence destruction denies due process. The deployment of 2 federal prosecutors against a journalist intimidates the press. Each abuse builds on the last until you wake up one day in a country where the government can arrest you for journalism and destroy the evidence proving your innocence. And courts just let it happen. That's where we are. That's what this case represents. That's why I will not participate in this farce. Stand before you today to say clearly, unequivocally, without hesitation, I will not bring myself to trial under my own power while this injustice stands unaddressed. I will not participate in a proceeding that was contaminated before it even began. I will not pretend a trial can be fair when the government coordinated with judges against me in secret before any charges existed. When the government tried to gag me from discussing their misconduct. When the government destroyed the most important evidence after receiving specific preservation requests. When the government deployed 2 federal prosecutors against a journalist for a petty offense. When the government controls all evidence, all witnesses, all institutional power. This isn't a trial. This is a theater. This is a kangaroo court. This is the government going through the motions of justice while systematically ensuring that no actual justice can occur. They want me to show up, sit down, shut up, and accept whatever punishment they've already decided that I deserve for the crime of journalism. They want this case to move quietly through the system so nobody notices the ex parte communications, the destroyed evidence, and the constitutional violations. I won't do it. I won't participate. I won't legitimize this farce with my cooperation. So I'm calling on everyone watching this, journalists, lawyers, civil rights advocates, citizens who still believe the Constitution means something. to demand accountability. When the government engages in ex parte communications with judges, moves to gag defendants from exposing misconduct, destroys evidence after preservation requests, deploys overwhelming prosecutorial resources against a single journalist, there must be consequences. Not procedural slaps on the wrist, but real consequences. Criminal consequences. I'm demanding that the court hold an evidentiary hearing on spoliation of evidence with testimony under oath from every U.S. Marshal involved in preservation decisions, every IT contractor with access to the surveillance system, and every government attorney who received the September 8th, 2025 preservation request. I'm demanding the court compel production of all ex parte communications between U.S. Marshals and federal judges regarding Matthew Reardon, including emails, text messages, phone records, and any memoranda documenting these conversations. I'm demanding the court produce all technical logs, export records, and chain of custody documents for the surveillance system, including system error logs for June through November 2025. Export logs showing what footage was successfully preserved, retention policy documents, and any communications regarding preservation or deletion of footage. I'm demanding the court issue an adverse inference instruction to presume the destroyed evidence would have proven my innocence, my compliance with law enforcement, and the falsity of government witness testimony. I'm demanding the court dismiss all charge, dismiss the charge with prejudice as a sanction for government misconduct that has irreparably prejudiced my ability to receive a fair trial. I'm demanding the court refer this matter to the Department of Justice Inspector General for criminal investigation of evidence destruction, obstruction of justice, and the deprivation of rights under color of law. I'm demanding the court refer the prosecutors who moved for a gag order to their respective state bars for disciplinary proceedings related to attempting to silence the exposure of government misconduct. These are not requests. These are the minimum requirements for restoring even a semblance of legitimacy to this proceeding. This case is bigger than me now. It's a test of whether the Constitution still constrains government power, or whether it's become a dead letter that judges cite while ignoring its actual requirements. It's a test of whether courts will hold law enforcement accountable when they coordinate with judges in secret, destroy evidence, and deploy overwhelming force against journalists. It's a test of whether journalism is still protected in America, or whether we've crossed into an era where the government can surveil you, target you, arrest you, destroy evidence proving your innocence, and then call it justice. The government has shown its hand. They've revealed themselves. They engaged in ex parte communications, serious enough that a judge recused. They tried to gag me from talking about it. They destroyed evidence and they added prosecutors. Every action reveals consciousness of guilt. Every action shows they know their case is illegitimate. Every action proves they're not seeking justice. They're seeking to make an example out of a journalist who documented their misconduct. Let me state this clearly for the record because I want there to be no ambiguity about what I'm alleging and why. I, Matthew Reardon, allege that the United States government, through the United States Marshal Service, the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Louisiana, and in all that, the Department of Justice, because they both fall under the Department of Justice, has engaged in evidence destruction in violation of Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure, Rule 16, Brady versus Maryland, Giglio versus United States, and my Fifth Amendment right to due process. I allege ex parte communications with federal judges in violation of my Sixth Amendment right to counsel and Fifth Amendment right to due process. I allege attempted suppression of speech through the and my phone just, it was right there at the end. My phone just lost power. No, this is a very serious ordeal. It's a very, very serious ordeal. Because if the government can provoke its own prosecution, and they can provoke it through running illegal surveillance on constitutionally protected activity, circulating bolos, they can cover up their wrongdoing, their serious wrongdoing. Try to use their power to gag a defendant so that the public does not know. And to stack the deck so heavy, to destroy evidence. What is it for the next defendant? What does that mean for you if you fall into their crosshairs next? It's not just about whether or not I get convicted. It's everybody else that's in line next. Because how can, when the government says that it's okay for one person to go that far outside of the bounds and for it to be acceptable, to deny every aspect of due process? We no longer have a constitution. We're no longer a free society. We're living under tyranny.
Want my voice silent. names are redacted. FOIA came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing under the disguise. They want my voice silent. Names all redacted, bad acted, exposed. Yeah, they all been detected. June 27 filed that FOIA request. U.S. Marshals got my picture on their desk. Lafayette to Mississippi, crossing state lines. Oxford Captain Sessoms coordinating with the feds this time. 14 documents returned, heavy red actions. Every name blacked out, protecting guilty factions. Alert notice, subject line circulating my face. First Amendment order to become a federal case. Bolo packet sent to every courthouse station. Be aware they warning, treating me like invasion. Court security brief, my photos in their phones. This ain't public safety, this is chillin' speed zones. Read the emails, we need felony to lock them down. Department of Justice watching while they pass it around. From Galveston to Utah, conspiracy in motion. Year and a half in prison on fabricated notions. They want my voice silent, names are redacted. We came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Cover corruption, wearing the disguise. They want my voice silent, names are redacted, bad exposed. Yeah, they all been detected. Supervisor Jonathan, hands upon my shoulder, don't touch me, that's assault. I told the rights controller incident report, lying about what happened that day. Video contradicts every single word they say, erratic and belligerent, disrupting the peace. Nah, I asked for a complaint form and called out the police. Have you been drinking? Classic deflection game. 5 years sober, check the facts before you defame. DEA agents and I request identification. They wrote it as disruption, federal intimidation. Exit now with face arrest, coercion on the tape. Constitutional rights violated, caught on landscape. District judge rules posted, but they don't trump the law. Federal regulations got protections with no flaw. They closed the building early just to force me out, then wrote the narrative twisted. That's what cover-up's about. They want my voice silent, names are redacted. Via came back, but the truth been distracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing a disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad addicts exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Oxford mayor stalking charge, completely fabricated. Walking through city hall requesting records. First Amendment sacred, public defender switch sides when to work for mayor spouse. 2 weeks later, wife gets fired. They attacking my whole house. Son fighting for his life in that NICU bed while they manufacturing crisis, twisting laws to see me dead. Mitchell Driscoll notes got my wife's employer listed. Phone up position, tell me this ain't twisted. Conflict of interest buried under legal motions. Prison sentence vacated, judge declared unlawful coercion. But the conspiracy continued soon as I got free. Moved to Layton, Utah, information follow me. 13-9 officers got my private details docs. Northern Mississippi Marshal sending memos across the blocks. He's banning this till 2020 thing. Watch for his arrival, this the price of journalism. Fighting for survival, they want my voice silent, names are redacted. FOIA came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. Blessed Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing the disguise. They want my voice silent, names are redacted. Bad acts exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Yeah. You forbidden this monster with your badges and deception. Every frame of every cover up to sharpen my perception. I'ma audit every court out of every severance instant. That's temporary peers and document the violation. Mrs. B. Whaley Patrol, I'm exposing roadblocks. Lafayette County, Oxford PD, I'm coming for the bad cops. Department of Justice, sitting silent while it's happening, so I'm sinking every career involved.
So you're tuning in live for National Fuck the U.S. Marshals Day. We the people, the news. We're live outside the John M. Shaw United States Courthouse, where these tyrants with the U.S. Marshals Service think that it's okay to criminalize journalism and the First Amendment. Had bolos put out. You gotta see, like, those that haven't seen the evidence, haven't seen the FOIA request. I knew that there was funny business going on. Y'all want me to come in? Hey, they're trying to wave me in the courthouse. So he just waved me in. Should I accept the invitation? I think I should accept the invitation. Hello. After you. Well, look who it is. Okay, you called me. You called me in here. You son of a bitch! I was outside on the fucking sidewalk. You told me to come in here, motherfucker. I'm going outside. You called me in here, motherfucker. You baited me in here, you piece of shit. Fucking pussy. You fucking pussy. Fuck your mom. He literally waved me in here. He tried to he told me to come inside, was grinning, and then told me he was going to throw me in handcuffs as soon as I walked in the doors. A public building. A public building. I'm holding my ground. I'm holding the line. Got to hold the line. And you're well within your rights. You cannot get pushed away. I mean, you give them an inch and they take a mile. Got to hold the line, folks. Got to hold the line. Huh? I'm on public fucking property. Let's go. Let's go. No, you're not. I'm getting it. You ain't gonna touch my camera. You ain't touching my camera. You ain't touching my camera. I'm getting my camera.
You grab the camera and you move it right now. If you don't, I'm seizing this camera.
That right.
That is absolutely right.
So what? So this door.
You've got 1 second.
This door is locked.
You've got 1 second.
This door is locked.
This is an entryway. Put it on the other side of the barrier.
I'm right. I'm fine. Right here. I'm. Really? Oh! 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 Ah! Ah! Oh! 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 Ah! Ah! Ah!
The right to remain silent. Say again when you get the law. The right to attorney. Question.
I want an attorney. I want an attorney. In 1971, the court drew a line in Cohen versus California. Paul Cohen's "fuck the draft jacket" wasn't polite, but it was speech. Justice Harlan's reminder: one man's vulgarity is another's lyric. Wasn't just clever phrasing. It was constitutional bedrock. The First Amendment protects the raw and the uncomfortable, because power doesn't get to dictate tone. 17 years later, NWA pushed that line further. Fuck the Police was banned from radio, condemned by politicians, and earned the group a warning letter from the FBI. But it survived. Not because gatekeepers approved, but because courts had already established in cases like Cohen that profanity and anger are protected when they are political speech. The music didn't just survive. It became an anthem against police abuse, echoing what the court had acknowledged years before. Offensiveness is not a crime. Now in 2025, I found myself living that same fight in flesh and bone. My
camera was my lyric, my audit, my anthem. Yet the U.S. Marshals tried to crush it with fists instead of bans. They treated journalism like contraband, seizing equipment as if recording itself were illegal. They dragged me into cells, beat me, mocked me, and tried to rewrite the law with violence. What they could not silence with statutes, they tried to silence with shackles. The irony is bitter. The FBI once threatened NWA for words. Today, federal agents brutalize citizens for cameras. Tools of transparency. Both reveal the same truth. When speech exposes authority, authority will try to call it dangerous. Through FOIA, I had already uncovered evidence of U.S. Marshals Service bulletins and bolos targeting me, documents redacted so heavily you could barely read them, but enough to show they were treating journalism and First Amendment auditing as crimes. Those documents foreshadowed what came next. And now, because of what has happened, those pages must be unredacted. The conspiracy is no longer theoretical. It is lived proof. On August 25th, 2025, outside the federal courthouse in Lafayette, Louisiana, Marshal Hayden Newsom ordered me to move my camera away from a locked courthouse door. He threatened to seize it if I didn't comply. I complied. I backed up with my tripod and 4K camera in hand. That's when he attacked. He slammed me to the ground. My brand new gimbal was destroyed. My tripod shattered into pieces against me and underneath me. My 4K camera was wrecked. He violently accosted me as if press equipment was contraband. They dragged me into a holding cell. That's where Newsom drove his knuckles into my chest while I struggled to breathe. My heart was pounding, 140 to 160 beats a minute. When I knocked his arm away to stop the pain, he threatened me again and again. Assault on a federal officer. They laughed while I gasped for air. They delayed calling 911 for nearly an hour. When the paramedics finally arrived, they mocked me, saying I was just trying to delay jail. At the hospital, the indifference continued. Dismissive, condescending, unwilling to acknowledge the injuries inflicted by federal hands. When I was discharged late at night, Marshal Newsom shackled me and handed me off to Deputy Olivet of St. Martin Parish Jail. I asked before he even pulled out of the lot, "What am I being booked on?" Deputy Olivet admitted there was no charge, just a hold for the U.S. Marshals. I told him directly, transporting me without charge is kidnapping under 18 U.S. Code 1202. He claimed he was following orders. I reminded him of Nuremberg, that just following orders is never a defense. He drove me anyway. At St. Martin Parish Jail, the abuse escalated. Deputy Olivet and a female booking officer nearly broke my wrist, hoisting me by handcuffs ratcheted down so tight I could feel my bones grinding. It was torture, plain and simple. They threw me into a tiny freezing cell with only a torn blanket. I had no food the entire day. I lay on concrete in pain from my chest, my wrist, my ribs, mocked by guards who treated my suffering as entertainment. And all the while, the marshals laughed about what they had done, laughing at destroyed equipment, laughing at a broken body, laughing at constitutional rights discarded like trash. This is not law enforcement. This is not justice. This is a conspiracy. One already foreshadowed in the FOIA records. One that is now spilled into the open through violent arrest, torture, medical neglect, and unlawful detention. In 1971, the Supreme Court said the government cannot criminalize vulgar speech. In 2025, the U.S. Marshals Service tried to erase that ruling with fists, with broken equipment, with shackles and cold cells. But here's the truth. They failed. I'm still here. I'm still speaking. And I will not stop. Because history will not absolve those who hide behind just following orders. It will remember those who stood. This is the warning. This is the record. And this is not the end.
Circle that Monday. Lock it in, lock it tight. National Fuck the Fed Day. Run it. Monday mark red, whole city on alert, alert. Alphabet boys lurk deep in the dirt. FBI creeping like a glitch in the night. Trying to map my whole life off the satellite. Kick those 3A heavy boots, loud steel, but they shake when the truth hit harder than the real. Files on the block, on your mom, on your name, but the story always twisted when they narrate the frame. Surveillance on blast, it's a normalized nick, but we clock every angle that they think we forget. Department of corruption, yeah, the label fits clean. Same tricks, new tech, same paranoid machine. Watching for safety, they build in a cage, replacing our freedom with fear on the page. But every year louder we don't bend, we stay and we circle that money like a kind of display. Play.
National Fuck the Feds, they let it bang. 808 shake while the whole crowd sing. They prey on the weak, but the streets don't sleep. And we rise wide awake when they slither and creep. National Fuck the Feds, they run that back. For the ones they pinned in the stack. Not violence, defiance, we demand our say. And we own that Monday like a brand new way.
Next up, marshals, heavy steps in the fall. Cross state, hunts like a wolf with a badge in the jaw. Says justice, but we know that script dragnet wide. Every name gets clipped, every raid prepped up like a flex on the ground. But procedure ain't justice when no truth around. Another file closed, another body misplaced. Same chase, same case, just a different face. They been running that route since the system began, treating shadows like suspects and suspects like playing. But we flip that weight into fearing the flame, and that money hit back like a claim, reclaim. National Fuck the Feds, they feel that roll.
Our hearts synced up with the kick and the flow. This ain't hate, it's the right to demand truth, rights, dignity, not blood on our hands.
National Fuck the Feds, they run that back. Last round attorneys with the quorum stand, stacking charges sky high just to force your hand. Plead out or drown, that's the deal they imply. Make the truth take a seat while the stats stay high. Inflated and diamond like balloons and hum, so the numbers look strong. Know the justice is smart, twisted words and they're not been inclined this tight. Call it fair trial while they rig that fight, but we break that cycle, stand tall, no sway, and we caught the truth deep in November's day. National Fuck the Feds, they loud and rock. For the race, the lives, the above the law. We rise as one voice, one force, one flame, and we chant that money Circle that Monday, November 24th. Same fire, same claim, National Voter Feds Day. Forever that name.
We the people news, exposing every move, every tyrant, every badge, every lie. They approve from Mississippi to Texas, up to Utah too. You retaliate against the truth, and the truth hits. Shaving dogs in my address, running interstate crews, marshal judges, dirty cops, all the bad actors in view. I survived every trap that your government used. Now I'm back with the facts. We the people news.
Yeah, started in Mississippi when the Tannehills lied. A restraining order forged just to keep me outside. No bonfire, no cars, just political pride. And 7 years later, that fraud still rise. Then the state doubled down, built the case off a myth. NBI in the shadows with a badge and a twist. Stalking charges built on my journalism hits. Fabricating affidavits like they reading from a script. Galveston it next on steam fake. What he smelled claimed odor of alcohol, but the tox screen yelled. Zero content detected, still they tossed me in a cell. 11 months in a cage while they manufactured hell. The Mississippi called Texas revocation by request. Leavers lied again and the judge said yes. Sentenced me to 2 years off fabricated stress. Later vacated, overturned, but I still paid the debt. That's the playbook they use when the truth breaks through. Retaliate, suffocate, silence what I do. But I never stop filming, never stop pushing through. Cause the people need the facts.
We the people news, we the people news. Exposing every move, every tyrant, every badge, every lie they approve. From Mississippi to Texas, up to Utah too. You retaliate against the truth, and the truth hits you. And dogs in my address, running interstate crews. Marshal judges, dirty cops, all the bad actors in view. I survived every trap that your government used. Now I'm back with the facts.
We the people news.
I moved west to Utah, trying to rebuild clean, but laying PD in Oxford ran across jurisdiction scheme. Sessions pulled my data, richness blasted out the screen. Docs my private new address, 1 hour on scene. In a ring to deny records, he knew I could redeem. Grammar twisted into weapons like a county machine. Said a mailbox ain't valid, what the statute they mean. Just obstruction in the trench with a retaliatory lean. Try filming DHS, trespass for walking through. Try filming in airports, ain't retaliatory cue. Every camera that I raise is a threat they can screw. But filming ain't a crime, it's a First Amendment view. So I took it to courtrooms, files who's by the stack. Every brief, every motion is me taking it back. They can lie, they can smear, they can launch their attacks, but the truth is a force that the tyrants can't crack.
We the people news, exposing every move, every tyrant, every badge, every lie they approve. From Mississippi to Texas, up to Utah too. You retaliate against the truth, and the truth hits you. Been dogs in my address, running interstate crews. Marshal judges, dirty cops, all the bad actors in view. I survived every trap that your government used. Now I'm back with the facts.
We the people news.
Then came 25, Lafayette, Louisiana. I was filming that court, I was putting truth on the camera. Marshall Nugent waved me forward, staged it like a planner. Then they hit me full force like a government hammer. They seized all my gear, then destroyed the proof. Claimed the tech fail occurred, that's a Brady excuse. Evidence gone missing while the marshals cut loose. Then they charged me for disturbing while they silenced my truth. Ex parte calls with judges before charges were made. A gag order pushed like they wanted me caged. They attacked the free press, that's the line that they paid. But you don't muzzle we the people when the truth is engraved. Every state, every badge, every retaliatory move confirms why this anthem is the weapon I use. You can censor my speech, but you can't stop the views. I'm the storm you created, we the people news, mate.
We the people news, exposing every move, every tyrant, every badge, every lie they approve. From Mississippi to Texas, up to Utah too. You retaliate against the truth, and the truth hits you. Been dogs in my address, running interstate crews. Marshal judges, dirty cops, all the bad actors in view. I survived every trap that your government used. Now I'm back undefeated. We the people news, we the people news. We the people news. We the people news. We the people news. We the people news.
They want my voice silent, names all redacted. FOIA came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing the disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad acted, exposed, yeah, they all been detected. June 27 filed that FOIA request. U.S. Marshals got my picture on their desk. Lafayette, the Mississippi, crossing state lines. Oxford Captain Sessoms coordinating with the feds this time. 14 documents returned, heavy red actions. Every name blacked out, protecting guilty factions. Alert notice, subject line circulating my face. First Amendment order to become a federal case. Bolo packet sent to every courthouse station. Be aware they warning, treating me like invasion. Court security brief, my photos in their phones. This ain't public safety, this is chilling speed zones. Read the emails, we need felony to lock them down. Department of Justice watching while they pass it around. From Galveston to Utah, conspiracy in motion. Year and a half in prison on fabricated notions. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. We came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Cover corruption, wearing the disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Supervisor Jonathan, hands upon my shoulder, don't touch me, that's assault. I told the rights controller incident report, lying about what happened that day. Video contradicts every single word they say, erratic and belligerent, disrupting the peace. Nah, I asked for a complaint form and called out the police. Have you been drinking? Classic deflection game. 5 years sober, check the facts before you defame. DEA agents and I request identification. They wrote it as disruption, federal intimidation. Exit now, a face arrest, coercion on the tape. Constitutional rights violated, caught on landscape. District judge rules posted, but they don't trump the law. Federal regulations got protections with no flaw. They closed the building early just to force me out, then wrote the narrative twisted. That's what cover-up's about. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Via came back, but the truth been distracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing a disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad addicts exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Oxford mayor stalking charge, completely fabricated. Walking through city hall requesting records. First Amendment sacred, public defender switch sides when to work for mayor spouse. 2 weeks later, wife gets fired, they attacking my whole house. Son, fighting for his life in that NICU bed while they manufacturing crisis, twisting laws to see me dead. Mitchell Driscoll notes, got my wife's employer listed. Phone number position, tell me this ain't twisted. Conflict of interest buried under legal motions. Prison sentence vacated, judge declared unlawful coercion. But the conspiracy continued soon as I got free. Moved to Layton, Utah, information follow me. 13-9 officers got my private details docs. Northern Mississippi Marshal sending memos across the blocks. He's banning this till 2020 thing. Watch for his arrival, this the price of journalism. Fighting for survival, they want my voice silent, names all redacted. FOIA came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. Blast Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing the disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad acts exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Yeah. You forbidden this monster with your badges and deception. Every frame about it, cover love to sharpen my perception. I'ma audit every court out of every Sarah's instant. That's temporary, eat pills and document the violation. Mrs. B, Whaley Patrol, I'm exposing roadblocks. Lafayette County, Oxford PD, I'm coming for the bad cops. Department of Justice, sitting silent while it's happening. So I'm sinking every career involved in this kidnapping. They gaslight and intimidate, threaten with detention. But the First Amendment still the law despite the intervention. Appeal these red bags, sue with 5 must take it to a judge who still believes in justice. This ain't confusion, homie, this is pure strategy. Government agency is coordinating tragedies. Bad Actors Volume 2, the sequel's just beginning. Truth over tyranny, you know that I'm winning. They my voice silent, names all redacted. FOIA came back, but the truth been extracted. Multi-state conspiracy, badges connected. First Amendment warrior, I won't be corrected. Black lines cover crimes, but I see through the lies. Government corruption, wearing a disguise. They want my voice silent, names all redacted. Bad act exposed, yeah, they all been detected. Yeah. Where my supporters at? Yeah,
Yeah.
They jump in my stream with their keyboard courage, spreading lies like a plague, trying to discourage. You ain't no journalist, that's what they claim, but I got DOJ papers. Federal courts know my name. General counsel stamped it recognition official. While these trolls stay bitter, spreading lies artificial. 18 U.S.C. 21, read the definition clear. Unlawful seizure, confinement, the truth they fear. They bend and twist statutes like they made of clay, but when it fits perfect, got nothing to say. Fell right in they lab textbook crime scene, but they act like I'm crazy, like I'm chasing dreams.
Where my supporters at? When the battle gets hot, sitting on the sidelines while my channel takes shots. Delete a troll, block the hate, then they cry censorship. But where were y'all when I needed back up in this one-sided war? Fighting solo every night, paper trail proof, but they question what's right. But they question what's right. But they question what's right. Simple definitions, solve the mystery quick, but they'd rather stay ignorant. Make me look sick, state and federal levels. They twist their own rules, playing word games like we all just fools. I document everything, evidence stacked high, while keyboard warriors spread another lie. My supporters ghost me when the heat gets real, and complain when I block. How's that make you feel? Want me to platform hate, give trolls their voice, but won't defend truth. That's your choice. Channel suffering while y'all just observe, getting the hate I definitely don't deserve. Where my supporters at? When the battle gets hot, sitting on the sidelines while my channel takes shots. Delete a troll, block the hate, then they cry censorship. But where were y'all when I needed back up in this one-sided war? Fighting solo every night, paper trail proof, but they question what's right. But they question what's right. But they question what's right. Got the document, got the federal recognition, but they question my credentials, that's their mission. Truth don't matter when hate's the agenda. I'll keep fighting solo, truth's my defender. Bad actors too, this was for the real. Tired of fake support, need people who feel. Stand up, speak up, or step aside. Truth and receipts always on my side.
Heard the war was over. Heard you had your fill. Heard that you were back in town. You got me standing still. Heard you had the patience of a battlefield, but I couldn't take it when you said you wanted something real. So I stood there, frozen, staring down the hall, and the gun firing out, and the gun firing out, and the gun firing out, and now it's real. I couldn't see it coming. Thought I had the time. Then you shot me in the back and left me there to die. Guess you had a feeling when you saw me there. You'd have to be a fool to think I ever really cared. So I stood there,
nights my shadow walks beside me. No keys, no ride, just the pavement to guide me. Family turning faces like I'm some mistake they made. Still I whisper to the heavens, Lord, don't let me fade. My heart been tested, my name been stained, but I keep my peace through the pouring rain. I keep my head high when the rain falls low. Got two angels with me everywhere I go. They don't speak words, but they feel my pain. Carrying my faith when I can't stand the weight again. This is the life of the struggle. The struggle. Where the strong learn to bend. Where the strong learn to bend. Every loss got a story. Every loss got a story. Every scar finds a sin. Every scar finds a sin. They see a burden, I see a plan. God put me here, I got it in man. Yeah, this is the life of the struggle, and I'm still standing where I am. People point fingers, say I'm always to blame, but they don't know the fire that built my name. Walking block to block with no place to rest. Still I give my all, still I give my best. Got these service dogs, my loyal friends. They see the truth when the world pretends. Every no they give me makes me stand up tall. Cause even angels stumble before they fly at all. I take the blame, I take the fall. Still I rise when they expect me to crawl. This is the life of the struggle, the struggle, the struggle. Where the broken learn to fight, where the broken learn to fight. Turn my pain into purpose, turn my pain into fight. Keep my fire in the night, keep my fire in the night. They see a burden, I see a plan. God put me here, a guardian in man. Yeah, this is the life of the struggle, but I still hold out my hand. Yeah. House to house, just chasing peace. Trying to find a place where my soul can breathe. I see the hurt in others, it reflects my own. So I help them heal before I go home. They don't know my mission, but it's heaven's call to lift the lost, even when I fall. Can't cage my life, can't change my fate. Even broken wings still find a place. I walk through fire, calm the storm. That's what angels do when they're reborn. This is the life of the struggle, struggle, the struggle. Painted in pain and grace, pain and grace. Every home I enter, I leave a trace, I leave a trace. They call me lost, but I'm just found again. Heaven sent me here to mend. Yeah, this is the life of the struggle. Oh, a guardian walking alone. So if you see me fading down your street, don't mistake me for defeat. I'm just changing shades to survive the night until